I just wanted to create a little video around increasing your following in both Facebook and Instagram. Something that some of you may know and some people may not. I used to be a business coach. I used to work in large organisations helping senior managers with performance and all of that type of stuff. And I've done a lot of personal coaching as well. Currently, over the last couple of years, I've been helping other artists to build their following, and increase business, help with their business, all of that type of thing, particularly on social media. So I wanted to do a short video on my top tips basically on building your Instagram following. So I'm going to start with number 5 of my top 5, and number 5 is using hashtags. Okay, so with Instagram, what you need to be doing is using hashtags to enable your followers or your new followers to find you. Your hashtags need to be relevant, so they need to be something to do with what it is that you're posting. You can use up to 30 hashtags. Now, I wouldn't recommend that you use all 30. What I would recommend is that you start with the most relevant. It doesn't really matter in what order you use them. But this particular piece here, Swaledale Ram, I've started with hashtag Swaledale, Swaledale sheep. Now, what happens when you use a hashtag, if I just click on one of these here, hopefully what will happen is this is the hashtag. You can follow a hashtag. Basically, if somebody's looking for something in Instagram, they will then come and they'll type in whatever it is that they're looking for, and off they go, and here, this is what we find. So you can see one of my pieces here already, sort of like in those top posts. So in this one here, there are nearly 25,000 posts on here. So this is a pretty good hashtag, actually. There are plenty of people looking at it, but it's not too big. If we looked at something like, let's just get one that's a little bit more, let's look at pencil drawings, for instance. Now we've got 450,000 posts there. If you choose a hashtag that has got a huge amount of posts, the likelihood is that you probably won't get seen. The likelihood is you probably will end up sort of like in the ether, sort of way down, and nobody's going to see you. But it's always worth having a crack at being seen in something that's got sort of like 500,000 posts. It's always worth it, because if you are shared by a big account, then that can really boost your following as well, which is great. Now you will get quite a few hashtags that have millions of posts. So let's have a look at this one here. Oh, this one again, this is 131,000. What happens is when you choose a hashtag and you type it in, usually it tells you how many posts there are within that one. So if you've got something that is 2, 3, 4 million, it's probably worth having it, but not kind of just having 3 hashtags all with 3 million, because it's kind of a waste of time, really. You kind of not going to get anything from that. So what you're aiming for is you're aiming for a hashtag that is smaller, so maybe 5,000. You're aiming for a hashtag that maybe is sort of like 20, 30,000, and then maybe looking at something that's sort of like in the 100,000s as well. So number 4 is content. Content is definitely king. You are looking to create really good content to engage with people, to bring people in, to get people wanting more, and most of all, you are wanting people to be engaging with you. So you're wanting people to read your content and then comment. The more you have people commenting on your Instagram and your Facebook posts, the more Instagram and Facebook are going to kind of show your posts. I'm not going to get into the algorithms or anything like that. I'm not a particularly technical person, but basically the more you engage and the more you have conversations with people via comments in your social media posts, the more Instagram and Facebook are going to show your post. So ensure that your content is interesting. Asking questions is a really good idea. Sometimes it can feel like you're kind of just banging your head against a brick wall, and you're kind of going through the motions, and you're not getting anything back from it. When that happens, the worst thing you can do is to blame the algorithm, is to blame Facebook, is to blame Instagram. They are there for you to use, and if something's not working, you need to change it. You need to have a look at what you're doing, and change it, because if you're not getting any engagement, you have to ask yourself why. It's very easy just to go, oh, it's the algorithm. Yeah, the algorithms change, and it is a bit frustrating, but you kind of got to change with it. And it's about writing really, really good content. My content isn't the most amazing content, but I put quite a bit of effort into it. I try to add in most of my posts something that's going to help people. So people know that if I post something, they're going to get something out of it. And that's why I end up with my followers. So I haven't been using Instagram for very long. I've just hit the 42,000 follower mark, which is incredible. It's not huge by any standards, but it's amazing for me. I guess I started to use it. I think I opened my account in 2016 and had no idea what I was doing. Absolutely no idea. It just was like, I don't know what to do. Do I just put a picture in? What do I do? I have no idea. So in 2017, I kind of got to grips with it, and I started to understand how it would work. So so basically from 3 years, I've built my account up to 42,000, which is really good. It is really good. But I try to stick to these 5 different tips, and the number 4 one, the content is really, really important. So you're wanting to pull people in, you're wanting to engage with people. If it's not working and you're not getting the engagement, look again at your content. The other thing that I find really, really, really works amazingly well is to start to pour your personality into your content. If you've got like a wicked sense of humour, adding your personality into your content means that you will attract like-minded people, and that's how you're going to get your followers, and you're going to get your followers to stay as well. If somebody can relate to you, and they feel they've got a connection, it's not just about the art, it's about the artist behind the art, and that's really, really important. So look at your content, look at what you're what you're doing, look at how you're wording your content, asking questions, just putting things in there that people are going to find interesting, because it's not just about the imagery, it's about giving things to people as well. So it's all around really good content. On Instagram, don't ask for pictures of people's pets and stuff like that, because they can't post them. In Facebook, that's a really good thing to do. Drawing this gorgeous black Labrador, who's got a black lab, post a pic below, and then you can get conversations going. You can start to get to know your followers, and they feel that they've kind of got a friend in you, and that's amazing. So that's my number 4, is really good content. My number 3 is the first 2 lines. On your phone, on your iPad or whatever, the first thing you see will be the picture. The second thing you'll see will be the first 2 lines of your content. That is what is going to pull people into the post to read more, and then to go onto your wall and to follow you. So those first 2 lines, really, really think hard about what they're going to say. How are you going to pull somebody in? So for instance, this one here, when you fall in love with drawing all over again. Okay, that's what somebody's going to see. They're going to see this image, and they're going to see those 2 lines. Now, that is what's going to get people in, get talking, giving you their experiences, all of that type of stuff. It's intriguing. You want to give a couple of lines that are really intriguing. If your first 2 lines are just work in progress, that's not inspiring. It's not going to inspire people to come in and know more. And I'm not saying every single piece has to have the most incredible content, but you should be trying to get regularly really good, interesting content that is going to inspire people to know more about it and to want to follow you. So really look hard at your first 2 lines. Make sure you're grabbing somebody's attention. You've grabbed their attention with the photo. Now you need to grab their attention with the first 2 lines. Draw them in, get them to read more, and get them to follow you. So number 2, using Instagram's tools. So Instagram has a huge amount of tools. We have Instagram TV. We've obviously got our posts on the wall, and we also have the stories. So you need to be using these tools on a regular basis. If you're not using your stories, then you are missing a trick. Definitely missing a trick, because you can tell a whole different side of your business. You can share all sorts of different things on your story that you maybe wouldn't use on your wall. You can have more personal things on there. I share pictures of my dogs all the time on there, or maybe you're going for a nice walk, or something like that, or you've tried something different, or you've got a work in progress and you want to show a little video, or you want to guide somebody from your story to your main wall. Using your stories is imperative in my eyes. Everyone should be using them. They're dead easy to do. I'll do another little clip on my phone so that you can kind of see how to do them. But you basically go onto your home page, hold your story bit down, which is here, and you add a story. And you can add all sorts of different things. You can add stickers, you can add text, you can add effects. Once you get over 10,000 followers, you can start to add links into other videos. So definitely something that you should be using. Instagram TV is a great one to use. It's a way of Instagram keeping you on their site rather than moving over to something like YouTube or something like that. You can get up to an hour's worth of video through your Instagram TV. You're limited to is it a minute? I think it's a minute on your wall, and you're limited to 15 seconds on your story. So having an hour where you can really put together a great video and keep people watching is a really, really good idea. Again, it's what Instagram wants you to do. They want you to be staying within their platform, and they want you to be using their tools. And the more that you use their tools, the more that they are going to share your work. So it's really, really important, that you use their tools and you use them properly. So my number 1 top tip: photography. Your images need to stop people in their tracks. You have literally a split second, less than a split second, to grab somebody's attention, make them stop and look, and then have a look at your 2 lines in your content, go into your content, read your post, go onto your wall, click that follow button, then you've got another follower. Your photography is the thing that is going to stop people and make them come and have a look. Okay, so your photos need to be good. They need to be, they need to stand out, because if you think about it, when you're sitting there, we're such fickle people. When you're sitting, flicking through your phone on Instagram, blah, 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 the time you will stop is when there's something that goes, oh, hang on a second, what's that? And that's what you've got to be thinking about when you're looking at your photography. So I'm just going to show you something quickly. So this is my scan of the sheep that I've just done, the ram that I've just done. Okay, I scan all of my work flat. So I scan it really flat with no contrast. Now, if I popped this into my Instagram, people will probably scroll past because it's lacking contrast, it's lacking colour, it doesn't look like the original piece, because that's how I've scanned it. So you need to just be making sure that your pieces pop, but without making them look completely different to your original art. If you're retouching it and you're making it very different to what your original piece looks like, that's okay, but be honest about what you've done. If you've added a blur to it, or you've done something, you've changed the colour considerably, that's fine. Stop people in their tracks, but tell them in the content that that's what you've done. Maybe why you've done it. You had a bit of a play. Doesn't this look funky? Blah, 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 that type of stuff. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to change my contrast. So just whacking the contrast in Photoshop up to 100%, that has really, really changed, you know, what it looks like. So people are then going to go, oh yeah, they're going to stop in the tracks and go, wow, you know, this still isn't the same as my my original. So I'm just going to up the saturation a little bit, not crazy, you know, but just a little bit, so it starts to resemble my actual piece. So you can see there's quite a difference there. Again, that's sort of standing out a little bit. It's not, I'm pulling it into, so it looks more like the original piece rather than the flat piece that we had before. So this now is a much, much better piece to be able to use in Instagram. Okay. Now the other thing is Instagram is square. The images on your wall are square. Now most phones have the functionality to be able to take a photo in square format. So that really should be something that you should be thinking about, taking things in the square format so that your image is framed within the middle of that square and it works with that square. If you've got sort of, you know, awkwardly shaped or long ones, so this one here, this one I did just added 2 pictures and I just pieced them together. You can't see so much on the desktop version, but on the phone you can just kind of swipe and you can see the whole thing in slow motion. You can see the whole thing together. So that works really, really nicely. You know, if you've got a long piece, think about chopping it up and splitting it so that you can actually see it all together. But good photography is key. The other thing as well is make sure that your photography is consistent. So building up like a bit of a brand on your wall so that people start to recognise your photography and how you take photographs. So having your work instantly recognisable in how you take your photography that's really important too. So my top tips: 1, photography. Make sure it's really, really good photos. You can take from your phone, doesn't have to be, you know, an incredible camera. The majority of these pictures that I take are from my phone. Use video as well, not just photography. Use some interesting video because people love video. They love to see what it is that you're doing. You know, that's going to get you a lot of engagement because it's interesting. There's a place where you can choose your cover photo, so what it will actually show on Instagram. Make sure that you choose an interesting part so that people just don't go, oh, what's that? Or it's just a blank screen or something like that. You know, make sure that people are actually seeing, you know, an interesting part of that video. So number 1, photography. Number 2, using the Instagram tools, so your stories, your Instagram TV. Number 3, the first 2 lines of your content, really important to pull people in. Number 4, your content. Make sure your content is brilliant, is interesting, is your personality goes into there, you know, engaging with people. If people comment, you know, make sure you thank them or at the very least like it. And number 5, using your hashtags. Make sure that you use your hashtags that are relevant. Make sure that you're using hashtags that are you know, haven't got too much of a following, or not too much of a following, but too many posts in there, because you're just going to get lost in the ether. But equally, you know, choosing a hashtag that's just got 5, you know, it's balancing it out. So using smaller hashtags, medium hashtags, larger hashtags, and then whacking in a couple of your million ones, you know, just in case. But that's basically an overview on how to get the most out of your posts. You know, so and hopefully what then will happen is you will start to engage more. You'll start to be putting out, you know, really, really good content, and hopefully your following start to increase.